Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you guys to Walk by Faith. I am your host, Jonathan Campbell. I want to welcome you guys on this special podcast today. We have an extraordinary young woman that I'm going to be interviewing. Her name is Naomi Campbell. Nope, it's not the supermodel, and there's no relationship to the supermodel. But if you notice, we do have the last name, and I'm proud to say that she is my daughter, my younger daughter, and I'm proud to have her on this podcast. So today we're going to be talking about raising capital. So my podcast is called Walk by Faith. Every week we'll introduce different titles that you guys are welcome to pitch in and contact us and connect with us and talk about the issues that we'll be talking about. But this issue this week is all about raising capital, and Naomi is going to tell us all about it. So it's about an extraordinary founder. She's young, she's Black, she's female, entrepreneurial, and she has a spirit. She has a strong talent for music, brilliant, and I think she's ahead of her time. And now it sounds like a lot of kudos from, of course, I'm one of her biggest fans. So she's building one-of-a-kind platform for everybody. And yet she's rooted in her identity and her calling. But there's a whole point to this podcast. If she doesn't receive the funding she needs, right, other people will start to basically copy her, and maybe they will launch the app before she get a chance to, because she's been working very diligently on this app. And now is that time to have it released. So I want you guys to listen intently and please connect with us after this. But this is what this podcast is all about. This week is about raising capital. So there are many stories we'll be sharing with you, and we want you to subscribe to our weekly podcast. But today it's all about Naomi, raising capital. And we'll talk about the issues of raising capital in Silicon Valley. But let me introduce this. So again, one more thing before I say anything else. I'm not a preacher. I am a father, and I am a man of faith. I'm walking this journey in real time, and I want you guys to know that, hey, you can walk with me, right? We learn as we go. So I believe in helping other people and building community. And so this podcast is not to be a sermon or a personal plea for any savior. No, we already have a savior. So we just want you to pitch in, join in, and be a part of this amazing, amazing process for a brilliant young woman and a brilliant idea. So today, I want to welcome you guys, but before we start, remember what they say, since I know it's not a sermon, but we all have to remember in the King James Version 2:26, right? They say, for as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without work is dead, right? And so there's a lot of different interpretation of that, but this is something I believe. So that gives a little bit of a background of what this podcast is all about. And now I want to talk here with Naomi. So we are here with Naomi Campbell, the founder of Crewlair, which is a purpose-driven social network platform designed for tight-knit crews. So not just any crews, but ones that are intentionally small, limited by default to just 5 members. So this is very interesting, right? So we'll talk about why the limit of 5, and is there something special about that number? And so let me introduce you guys to the founder now, Naomi. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Crewlair is all about tight-knit crews, and the reason for this is because studies say that the average person has up to 5 best friends max, and so many people never even find theirs, and a lot of people who do have an inner circle, they're unhappy with their inner circle. And so one thing I like to say is small crews, large impact. And so crews on Crewlair are different than crews on any other platform because they're intimate, nurturing, loyal, fierce, purpose-driven, and that kind of like purpose-driven energy is missing from social media today. And it's not just the number that makes us special, and it's not just the fact that we connect people, but it's the entire vision of Crewlair for now and the future. And so we're all about camaraderie. We're all about bringing loyalty and purpose into the social space and giving people a platform where they're encouraged to dream, innovate, create, and build together.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a huge undertaking. So it sounds like you're building more than just some regular app, right? It feels like a beginning of some kind of movement, if I want to say. If that doesn't sound too far-fetched, would you say?
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
So if I take it a step further, I mean, let's just let the audience know to say what got you started with this. I mean, most people go to school, they get out, and they want them to find a job and go get a job. Now you're a young woman, you're a musician, you're talented, you went to school for computer science, but why not just go into the work? Was there a moment, experience of frustration that made you say, I need to build this and no one else can do it the way I can? Or what is it that got you started? Would you mind sharing a bit of your background? And
Hmm.
I know, like what shaped your vision? We know that you're a computer science graduate, but what helped
Yeah.
you with that? Hmm.
Yeah, so throughout my whole life and throughout my years in school, I always wanted a core of my own. And so I always wished that I had a crew of people just as passionate as me, where we could grind and go hard and be creative together. And that's something that I always missed. And I always wanted genuine connections. And in school, I knew people, I was cool with people, but I didn't have that core where we could have like interesting conversations and where we had similar interests. And so that was missing for me. And so a lot of times I'd end up going to the hallways and just eating lunch alone, or like I go to the classroom and I do my homework or write songs, or like go to the band room, play piano. So I really miss that core, but it's something I always wanted. And then in my earliest school days, I used to play these multiplayer online games. So, like MapleStory, for example, we had these
Ah,
guilds. Yeah, and
mhm.
they were small in size. They were like 10 to 15 people. But it was so much fun. We would level up together, we would troll around, and it was like the funniest thing ever. But yeah, I love that. And then also Neopets was another one where we had
Yep, that's
guilds.
yep, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yes, and Neopets was so fun. And so I ended up going to school for computer science. And while I was doing
Well,
computer
let
science,
me interrupt you for a second. Take a step back.
yeah,
With Neopets or Maple Story, what is it that you guys did on that made it so much fun?
yeah,
Mhm.
so with Neopets, we actually a lot of it was kind of like designing graphics. So we would make like web pages, graphics, and then we would just chat and we had like these little pets that we could dress up and stuff. And then, but Maple Story was more exciting because we could like fight monsters, we could dress up our characters. It was just so
Did
fun.
you have to do any kind of coding on that or no?
Not for MapleStory, for Neopets, yes, because I would play around with CSS and HTML to do like the websites, and then I would play around with Photoshop for the graphics. So that
And
was really fun.
how old were you during this time? Like,
I was about 8 years old when I was doing Neopets, and then with MapleStory, I think I was about 11 years old when I started MapleStory.
hmm. Oh,
Yeah, so to continue this story, so while I was in college for computer science, I was also refining like my musical vision. And one thing that I really realized I needed was a crew. And I saw that all of these artists, like these popular artists, it was this similar story where they had people that they came up with and they leveled up together. And I was like, there's no platform that is helping people build their crew, even for not just like music artists, but creatives and entrepreneurs. And it's so difficult because I just have to, you'll send DMs and get ignored. You'll have to do exhaustive searching, and it was just ridiculous. And there were some platforms that were like, oh, we'll help you build your team. But a lot of the times you'd find that they're connecting you to investors, but the investors are relying on stats. So how do you get the stats in the first place? You need to get those numbers. So the root of it all, what people really need is the crew, because the crew allows you to level up and get get those stats that the investors are looking at in the first place. So really, what people need is a crew. And instead of like chasing after popular, famous people, it's about building with the people around you, people on your level, and people that you can come up with together. And so, yeah, the idea first came about in 2016. It started as a friendship app, and it shortly after that evolved into a crew app because I was really struggling to build a crew of my own.
mhm.
And I was like,
And
there's a
that crew
need of
was for
this
the crew was for your
for
music.
music. Yeah. And
Ah,
even
okay, I
just
see.
genuine friendships. I wanted that too. And I saw that people were complaining about this too. And one thing that I've loved to do with my closest friends is work sesh. So I'll just be like, let's get on Skype. That was years ago. I'd be like, let's get on Skype or let's get on Slack and just work sesh and grind it out. And so that also has
And
been a
that
big
work
part of my life.
that work session, was it for mostly music or just personal or computer science
Yeah.
or just
For
whatever?
music, just talking, learning, sharing new finds, gems, news, things like that. Even like
Mm,
just getting on there. Yeah, that's been a big part of my life.
mhm.
And so basically what happened is around 2021, I kept seeing all these signs pop up that there was a need for this. On social media, it was like inner circle, friends, close friends, and around this time, I was job searching because I was like, oh, I'll get a job to fund my music. But I kept seeing these signs like friends, close friends, friends. So I came to you and we had a conversation about it. And I was like, Dad, I keep seeing these signs that there's a need for this app. But I was hesitant and afraid to actually do it because I thought it would take away from my music. And then you were like, this would be a great opportunity. Rather than building someone else's dream, you can take advantage of this opportunity and build something that'll make a difference. And so, yeah, it was like the more that I kind of turned my eye from it, the more that it just kept appearing in front of me. So I was like, this needs to happen, and like this is a sign. So, um,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah. So then you said, okay, well, I need to prove that I'm serious. So I went and I mocked up like 200 plus wireframes and the prototype and then showed everything to you and you were like, this is good. Like we'll kick it off and you're the
Yeah.
investor. Hmm.
Actually, I was really surprised. I mean, not surprised because I know you're talented, but I mean, it was just, that just blew me away. But the thing is, when we started to look into that, um, I wanted to be more of just a helper on the side. But then
Hmm.
we found that it was kind of disappointing as we approached people to help because it turned into a really big project for you, right? You started to
Hmm.
code all of this yourself, but then after a
Hmm.
while it was just too big, and then it
Yeah.
turned into a big project, and then
Hmm.
people were trying to charge too much money, right?
Yeah.
Remember the one call? I think we were on one call where this developer group was charging, what was it, close
It's
to
like, it was a lot of money. People were telling us, oh, it's going to take like $1 million to build this thing. It was like ridiculous. Yeah.
uh, well, this is why, to be honest, as a father and someone who's been in tech for a long time, I always wanted to do something, but I just never had this. I mean, I've done smaller things, but I never had the opportunity to do something so that I thought was so amazing. And your project just blew me away. So for me, it was also the self interest to say, wow, I get to put my skill sets to work and try to help my daughter make this happen. Whether or not other people want to or not, I'm going to help her do this. And this is what that's my reasoning. But you did a fantastic job, but just the funding was a major issue. So
Hmm.
then we have to take it to the next step where I had to participate a little bit more and
Yeah.
actually so I think
It
you
was
got
big.
me stuck. Yeah, it's too big to ignore. But so from that point on, what so you always been popular in school and or anything like that? Just were you popular in school? Because I see you have music videos and stuff out there, and I looked at your Instagram. You
Hmm.
have a
Oh,
lot of following, and it's like 20,000 people or so, I think, now in one of your YouTube sessions, I think. But were you popular in high school or
I wasn't like super popular. I knew people, and because I would do like people knew of me too because I would do the talent show and stuff. But I didn't have like friends like that. I didn't have best friends like that. A lot of times I would spend a lot of my time alone. Sometimes I would hang out with people here and there, but a lot of times I spent my time alone because I was just kind of like I couldn't really relate to some of the conversations and I really just wanted a crew. Like that's the whole point of Crewlair is to have that crew where it's
mm,
truly genuine, truly mutual, and you're truly doing something meaningful together.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I was just kind of like, meh, I'm just gonna go hang out by myself. And sometimes people would be like, I never see you. It would be in classroom. Sometimes people would ask me, I never see you around, like during lunch or whatever. But that was because I would be just on my own walking around or in the classroom.
I see. So, um, if you look at it, you're in high school, you're getting all these experiences. You're also playing around with applications like Neopets and MapleStory, as you mentioned before, and you're thinking about this, but you don't. At that point, from high school to college, were you always thinking computer science, going to tech?
I was thinking about different things. So, um, growing up, I never thought I would do computer science. I was actually thinking about doing law. And at one point, I was thinking about doing performing arts, but I had already done piano. So I started doing classical piano around 7. And so I didn't really want to go through the formal education for music. And if I was going to go to school, I wanted to do something else and then keep music as something that I learn on my own. And so initially going into college, I was thinking law, but I took my first political science course and I knew from the first day I was like, this is not for me. So I knew instantly, I was like, this is not for me. So I remember looking at different majors and I saw computer science and it's funny because I was like, okay. I used to love math growing up. And another thing is like growing up, we had a little room where we had computers. So me and my siblings, like we used to play games on the big computer and we had to earn our playtime. And so working with computers became natural. Like I grew up holding a mouse and clicking around, and you had us doing typing tutor. And then I also grew up using different tools like Sony Vegas for video editing and stuff. And when I remember that one time with the Knoppix CD where we couldn't boot up the computer, and you were like, go online, get the Knoppix CD, and follow the instructions. And so I did that, and we were able to get it working. So things like that take fears away from you. And so, yeah, I was like, you know what? I love math and I'm used to working with the computer. Like, so I'm going to give this a try. And so I remember taking my first programming course and it was actually really fun. I really loved that course. And I ended
Mm.
up really loving discrete math and logic and solving problems. So that I decided to stick with computer science.
Did you take any AP courses to prepare you for going to computer science? How was it?
Yeah, no. So I didn't take any AP courses in high school. And as far as computer science in college, I felt confident I could do it, but a lot of people were speaking doubts. And so a lot of students were talking about how hard it was and how people were dropping out. And I remember going to the doctors, and the doctor was just like, I don't think you should do it. It's going to be
What kind of
hard. You should go into
what kind of
something
doctor
else.
was this you're talking about?
Just outside doctor without giving
You mean like
specifics.
your personal, just like
Yeah.
a regular
Mm-hmm.
physician going for a
Mm-hmm.
checkup? And
Yeah.
so, why did that topic come up to say,
I think he was asking me like what I'm doing, like what I'm studying, and I
"Oh, I
said,
see.
yeah, I said I'm doing computer science, and then he was like, nah, I think you should do something else.
Oh, wow."
Yeah,
And
so,
well, this is an important part because I also had someone affect my thinking a long time ago. And these things are very important. So I want our listeners to know, the people out there to know that when you're a young person and you have someone who's in a very professional field or authoritative position, a parent of your friend or someone else that works in a different area tell you that, oh no, I don't think you should do, or give you negative, sometimes is the easy way out. The young person will hear that and that would be it. That's all they need to say, oh, I'm
mm-hmm,
not going to do this anymore. So I want everyone to be aware of these things. And I think it's unfortunate that that happens a lot. So I'm glad
mm-hmm,
that didn't affect you. Okay. So
yeah.
go.
Yeah, so fast forward from the doctor incident in computer science, just going back to my experience, I would say that the most important thing is not falling behind and keeping up with the material because things pick up really fast. And if you get left behind, it's going to be really tough. So the initial classes were fun, But over time, the coursework got more time consuming and difficult. And there were some professors in college that just weren't that great. And there were also a lot of cheaters and people sharing assignments. And so a lot of times I'd have to do my assignments alone. And oftentimes I would spend like all day in the library till late night just watching YouTube videos and teaching myself the
Wow.
material.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I also joined the computer science club, which is really fun, and the tutoring room where I'd ask questions. And sometimes I'd get home so late that I'd just like spend the whole day studying and I didn't have much time music, so I'd just go home and cry. I wish I had more
Wow.
time. Yeah, I remember just crying all the time because I was like, I'm spending all my time in the library studying. And so, but I never stopped believing and working on my music when I had time. I also want to give a shout out to one of my professors that I had for Calc 1. His name was Professor Rivera, and he completely changed my perspective on calculus because I had him for Calc 1, and he was amazing. Like, the class was really interactive. He'd have us come up to the front of the classroom and solve problems live on the board. And so that helped me come back from a bad experience that I had in high school with calculus where the professor was just not good and everyone in the class was struggling. So, yeah, I'm so glad that I had Professor Rivera because he definitely helped. That course gave me the confidence to take the next following calculus courses.
Excellent. So I see the trend. So you're now in college, you're working towards your computer science degree. It's getting more difficult. Seems like you're learning from, you've had some good professors like Professor Rivera, but you also have some other instructors that are really not good and forcing you to go onto YouTube and learn from online courses. And this is,
Hmm.
again, the good thing about today is you can get these resources are so much available out there. So I'm glad that you did this. But I'm also curious because also working in Silicon Valley, I see that there are not that many um, African American in Silicon Valley, and not even,
Hmm.
and especially not a lot of Black females as well. So, how did it feel just being Black and female in computer science, as people would say? Did it? I mean, you kind of shared that a little bit with us, like how you spend some time and going home and crying and doing homework by yourself. But did you care to elaborate a little bit more and just
Hmm.
give other people the feeling? Mhm.
Yeah, so in college, there were only two courses out of all my years where I saw one other black person. So that was crazy to me. But I will say that going into computer science, I wasn't fixated on my race. Like, it wasn't at the forefront of my mind, but I was also aware of how people would react when I'd go into the classroom, especially like on the first day. I remember one course I sat in the front row on the first day, and the professor, he looked at me and he was like, make sure you're in the right class. And I remember I was like, I just thought to myself, okay. But I didn't let the stares and things like that get to me. But it's definitely I didn't see like hardly saw any other black people. But over time, people just get used to seeing you, and then like staying attentive in class, volunteering in class. Eventually, you just get cool with people, and then next thing you know, you're helping them with homework.
Wow. So for people who are listening to this, I know this is raising capital. We're going to talk about it. It's much need, but your experience is so important because I'm sure there's some young women out there, or young people out there, I should say, not just women, but young people maybe having similar experiences and wondering if they did the right thing. If they're, hey, can I do this? Am I in the right class? I'm feeling so isolated and feeling out of place maybe at times, but at the same time, you see how you start to feel you end up helping people, and then you're struggling, you're helping, so it's like a mix of a lot of different feelings, it seems like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a good thing, I guess, to let people know that, hey, you will have this mix of feelings and everything else, but you got to stick with it. So
Yes.
let's come back to Crewlair, the
Yes.
amazing app that you're funding. So what would you like to talk about a little bit? And I mean, we're eventually going to start to wrap up, but as we talk about this, right? Um, you did not go to Harvard, Yale, or Stanford, Berkeley, any of these big schools.
Mm-hmm.
What gave you this idea to basically do this, and what gave you the confidence to do this? So, from what you've said before, it sounds very interesting. But
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the stories, and I've been in Silicon Valley for some time. But they talk about these founders and the experiences, and those kinds of things. But you decided to start Crewlair,
Mm-hmm.
and you have already had created some songs by that time, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you're making some videos, right?
Yeah.
Um, and can you just talk about where is the intersection between the music and Crewlair and the drive to get this app doing and having the confidence that you can make it happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because it almost sounds like from what we were talking about, like there's some kind of founder market fit here,
Yeah.
for those of you who are unaware of what the market fit is like where you have an alignment between the founder and the experiences they have lived and the marketplace that they're targeting. So can you take us more into this? Like
Mm-hmm.
what made you feel so confident that you could do this? And yeah.
Yeah. So Crewlair is my lived experience and long-term observations compressed into a product. And so I think what gives me the confidence with the Crewlair, even designing Crewlair and all that stuff, is that I grew up using all these different apps, trying to build my crew, trying to make meaningful, genuine connections, especially connections that are mutual. And it was so difficult. And I realized there's no effective way to network that was suitable, not just for me, but all personality types. And so I kept just paying attention to observing, and I would see people saying like it's so hard to find people, and then even just using these apps myself, I would be in groups that would go up to like 100,000 plus members, and you'd see people just posting information about themselves saying, oh, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, but there's no way to efficiently like sort and search through people. And so another thing is that groups don't have a growth mindset, and they're not growing towards anything in these platforms. And so Crewlair is more of a purpose-driven, tight-knit vibe. So it's more inspirational. It's more about true connection and having a loyal, solid crew, a solid core. And we have unique features that no other app has. And Crewlair solves many issues that exist with social apps right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You care to get into some of those issues, but you can, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we help people make genuine, mutual connections, find people just as passionate about you and passionate as you. And not only that, but our platform is all about true camaraderie. And so we're removing the focus on prestige and stats, and it's about like actually having a core or having a crew, whether that be for authentic friendship or your creative endeavors, and encouraging people to build and grow together.
Okay. So at the core, seems like you have this genuine mutual connections. But couldn't someone argue that, there are places that there are other companies that are already doing this right now? Would you say
Mm-hmm.
Facebook groups or meetups or those kinds of things are doing it?
Yeah.
As an investor or someone who may be interested in this, what is the distinguishing thing in your app? Just to,
Yes, yes. So Crewlair is, if you look at the existing apps right now, a lot of them are starting to use this language. We're starting to see this more. There's a shift happening where people are saying genuine connections, meaningful connections, mutual connections, but there is no platform that's focus is on the tight-knit crew. And that's where Crewlair comes in, because Crewlair, the foundation of it all is the crew. And so a lot of platforms, they do so many different things, and they might have like a group feature, but the platform is not about the group. And then there are some apps that are about groups, but when you look at these groups, they're not purpose driven. They're just people that are there socializing. Sometimes these groups get really large and people talk over each other. So Crewlair is something that's valuable for everyone, and it's something that is unique. And so I like to see Crewlair as the same way that TikTok is for short form videos. Crewlair is for crews. So people can have other platforms can have group features, but the same way that other platforms started implementing short form videos, but TikTok remains on top. And so that's how I see Crewlair is like being the number one for crews.
Okay. And this is all kinds of crews.
Yeah.
Now, let's get a little bit more. I think maybe we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, but today I know I've seen some recent article about some new company coming up with like doing AI matching or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they're starting to use similar language. Like I know you've been around for a couple of years, and or
Yeah.
you've been trying to get your product out.
Mm-hmm.
It's from what you've told me that the product, well, from what I know, I should say, the
Mm-hmm.
product is already developed and it's just going through the QA process. But this is why the funding is so important to get you to that stage. But
Mm-hmm.
it seems like people are either copying your language or starting to use your language. And because I never saw so many things about crews before, but now when you search, it's not so much, they're not saying so much crew, but they're saying the language that you've been using for a couple of years now,
Oh
people
yeah.
are starting to use it everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah,
So,
I'm starting to see like some of our exact language, like genuine connections, mutual connections, even the use of the word crew,
mhm.
mutual, meaningful connections, and that's good. If anything, I see this is exciting because there's a shift happening, and it just shows that we're
Ah,
ahead of the shift. And so
gotcha.
so where people are right now, I can already see ahead of it because I already saw this coming well, back then. So that's what it just makes me excited because I'm like, okay, I see that the shift is happening just as I knew it would, but I know
Mhm.
that we are ahead of the shift.
Excellent. So it's kind of validation for everything you're doing in
Exactly.
a
It's
way.
all perspective. Exactly.
Hmm. Well, like I said, I'm proud to be sitting here talking to you. I think I always thought it was a brilliant idea, and it's still a brilliant idea. So
Mhm.
so with this in mind, we know that now um, you've you've used other apps. We talked about that. They couldn't solve your problem, and you're building this. Um, and you've just said that it's a purpose-driven, tight-knit, well, it has a purpose-driven, tight-knit vibe, right?
Mhm.
And you're building, it's all about your crew. So now, where do you see this headed? And just in general, as you said, you're building a scalable platform, right?
Mhm.
But is it just app for crews? Can it be, if I'm going to go on there and match, and I want to know how are you doing a match? Because everybody has a buzz, like the new companies that have been popping up saying that they're using AI to
Mhm.
do match. But you've always had this machine learning algorithm with your own special uh, logic built around that to
Mhm.
be able to match users and put them into crews,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
you become a member of the crew first, or how does that work? You become a friend first and then a crew, but you can also, what if I don't want to be in a crew and I'm by myself and I want to
Yeah,
just meet someone to go
that's fine for
do
you too.
almost like a,
Mhm.
yeah, almost like dating. Could I
Mhm.
literally use this app to say, hey, I'm looking for someone who's maybe between 45 and 55 and maybe loves to go hiking and maybe loves to eat cook good food
Mhm.
and but can I just make that person a friend and then all of a sudden we connect and we're on
Yeah.
Crewlair together?
Yeah, so Crewlayers focuses on the crew, but it's multi-purpose as well. So, wha- um, we have a special matching algorithm that considers lots of different things without getting into super specifics. But we make sure that you're truly aligned. Like whatever it is that you want to find, we're going to help you find it. And so, if you just want to find, let's say you're somebody who's not really looking for a crew, but you want to find authentic friends, or maybe even want to use it for dating. Like whatever you want to use it for, really, you can use Crewlair for it.
Mm, okay, so that gives a lot of flexibility and with
Very flexible.
so hmm is there something that you would like to talk about a little bit more in the app before we get into like the market and opportunities that exist for this app? Yeah.
I will say that without getting into specific details, um, I will say that Crewlair is big on privacy. It's almost like having crews that are in stealth mode, and so we have, so it's very tight knit, and it's like a very safe space for you to have that experience of camaraderie with your crew. But eventually, this is going to expand into something massive, and so it's going to be really exciting. The future of Crewlair is, I see it being like the one of the biggest social platforms.
Okay. So, okay. I think we will continue to find out a little bit more about Crewlair as we go on. But let's just say that if I'm an investor, because this is all about, this is walk by faith. You've definitely been walking by faith because this is a tough journey. And I've seen you firsthand walk through this. And I've seen the tears. I've seen the isolation. I've seen the bags under the eyes. And I've seen the hard work. So with this, let's talk about your market opportunity and basically other things that come along with this, right? This app, I know that you're designing an app. It's a full-blown app. You're Black female, but this is not just an exclusive app for Black users, and it's built for everyone. It's a platform
Hmm.
like Facebook or anything else, correct?
Yes, yes.
And
This is a
so
universal.
yeah,
Hmm.
so but as a Black female, and again, we can, it is what it is. We cannot deny that you are breaking the mold. So let's talk about some of the challenges, some that we've touched on it before, but let's talk a little bit more about we talked about your college, but now we want to go more into the app focus. And
Hmm.
how did you handle like just starting up so other people can know what to do?
Hmm.
What kind of strategy did you have, and how did you handle like the basic financing and stuff like that? So, yeah.
Yeah, so I started building the front end, coding it in Flutter, and I would spend late nights just watching online courses on specific technologies that pertain to our architecture. And the idea grew, and I needed help, and we needed people who were senior level, because we decided to build a whole platform rather than a tiny MVP. And we also thought that the concept wouldn't come across very well on its own at the time. If it was too small, it'd be easy to just get taken over by the big guys. They could just implement this little feature and then we're done. So we wanted to build a platform that combined different features in a unique way, where we could outlast competition. And we didn't just want to be copied and lose because it was too basic.
Uh,
And yeah, so we had a tight budget. We built an international team, and we didn't have a backing and external resources, so we built this from the ground up.
hmm, excellent. And so you're coding in Flutter, you're working with people remotely, international. Can you tell us where some of the locations where you have people? I know specifically where some of those places are because I sat there with you as we interviewed many of those people, many late
Yeah.
nights.
Hmm.
Turkey, um,
India.
India, China,
Hmm.
Kazakhstan.
Hmm.
So, what about teams? I think we had to go through several teams, right? And like people
Hmm.
that failed to deliver at certain times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I can go into the
but-
background of that. So, when we started to build a team, we hired freelancers to work on the product. So we put together a team of freelancers, and we had to pivot and change our team 3 times because of many reasons, like difficulties in implementing our architectural vision, the pandemic, personal and life changes, and now we've been on pause for a few months, and there's been a lot of changes, and we're raising funding. But I will say that the pause was very much needed, and I'm really excited because we're seeing this shift happen, and it's exciting to know that Crewlair is still ahead, and the timing is even better.
okay, so because most people come along and say, "Yeah, why didn't you just make this an MVP and get it out?" So, from what you said, it's like the idea itself is it's to be complete. It needed to have to be we needed to do more, and that makes total sense because I know I was there with you talking to many people.
Mhm.
So but if people ask like why has it taken so long, so those are all reasons you've mentioned, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay. And so but you still believe in this app, of course,
Yes.
otherwise, yeah, and
I do.
it's way ahead of its time.
It
Okay.
is.
So you do see that it's, I guess you said it's exciting times, and you're just
Yeah.
to reiterate, you're seeing the shift.
Yes, I want to say it here that um, I see crews, especially tight knit crews, being the future of social media. I definitely see it heading in that direction.
Hmm. Okay. And now there's lots of startups that are starting AI, AI, AI. And because now you know that companies have released what's called the LLM, these large learning models, and they're very powerful, right? And some people are using that as to do, they can do a lot of things. But from what I know and for what you've talked about, we can always, that's just a simple add to our infrastructure. We already have data scientists and algorithms. We can easily put the AI there to just
Mhm.
assist. Is like that's correct, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Would you
please
like
go
me
ahead.
to elaborate? Okay.
Yeah.
So we already had a data scientist on our team writing the machine learning algorithms coupled with our own special logic to make great profile recommendations. And so now the new large learning models will assist us and make our tasks much easier than before. And so things are getting crazy with AI, but I see Crewlair finding a nice balance where we're going to keep some of that human element and autonomy. And what's going to drive a lot of our decisions is authenticity.
Excellent. Well, this is so. Let's just take a recap. Crewlair, founded by Naomi, who's also a musician, computer science graduate, and an app that is ahead of its time from all the things that we've heard on this podcast, right? And you have, it seems like you have just brilliant ideas that other people are finally trying to come up to speed on, but you've been there for a couple of years. You've been a couple of years ahead of it. So, but here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, and this is where I step in, and this is one of the reasons I want to do this podcast to make sure that everyone is aware of this, right? There's a few stats I want to mention. Remember, we said before this is not just a black app, and it's an app developed by a young black computer science graduate whose app happens to be a musician. That's her true love, but she did major in computer science, and I think that it's a fantastic choice. But let's look into some stats, right? When we look at the black population in the USA, just look at it, there's about 48.3 million. Now, these stats have been pulled up by AI, but so you can verify if you want to verify, but this is based on this. And 14.4% of that, in other words, this the black population in the USA stands at 48.3 million. That's 14.4% of all Americans, right? And so again, generated yet by AI. But yet we hold about 4.7% of the total wealth, right? And there's a big mismatch, guys. Now, no one, when you look at this kind of thing, you wonder why is it like this? There's many reasons, and you guys can go into historical and all kinds of different reasons. But here's a fact. There's black individuals in this country make up about 8 to 9% of all US millionaires. So there's nearly 2 million out of the total number of millionaires out there, right? Guys, 2 million. Now, remember, this is not just, I'm just giving you these stats because I want to say that even if less than 1% of you out there, not just all Americans, but this is again, all Americans around, but even if we want to support a project that is kind of foundational, that will help our own community and do many things. And Naomi can tell you more about that. It would take less than 1% of our population to make this successful, right? So I just presented you with a little bit of statistics about the population. So, but remember, this is an app for all Americans. Everybody's welcome. But sometimes we have to help our own, right? This is a very important realization that we all need to understand. And if you invest in your own communities and do those things, and sometimes there's a risk. There are things that will not work. But let me tell you, in Silicon Valley, do a research if you have some time. See the percentage of companies that invested and see how many of them fail. But now, if you look at the product that we have here, and if you followed us closely, you'll see that we are the leader in the space, and Naomi is a visionary. So I don't see failure apart. The only failure would come basically from the lack of funding, giving other people a chance to surpass her and eventually steal all the ideas and come up with it. Think of TikTok and think of Reels and think of Shorts, right? TikTok was the first with those videos and everyone else came along. So part of what Naomi has talked about with me is that she wants to help very early and give out the scholarship, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to help build the community as we grow.
Yeah.
So I think you mentioned that you'll give out a certain number of scholarships to users based on what was it, the number of subscribed users,
Mm-hmm.
and that could lead to, of course, millions of dollars in scholarships depending on our base users. So you guys just heard from Naomi Campbell, and let me ask you this question, Naomi. So I'm sure a lot of the investors might want to know this. So why are we actually seeking $3 to $5 million?
Mm-hmm. So, most people come up with an idea and then try to get people to invest in their idea and develop an MVP. In our case, we've built this product and we're nearly finished, so we're going through rigorous QA. But we do have some updates to make, and it's also key for us that we move fast. So, we need to be able to market this properly, be competitive, and it's also really important that we handle failures quickly, especially when we have a lot of users using this app. We also need the right resources and top-notch talent to help make this happen and help us stay competitive. And we want to launch initially in major English-speaking countries all at once.
Hmm. And this money will help you make those things possible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And mhm. And as far as our team, so we do have a team. So we have a team of engineers, developers for front end and back end. We have a data scientist and we have DevOps. But we are looking to make some refinements and, of course, take things to the next level and just
Hmm.
build an excellent quality product.
Hmm. Yes. And for all of you guys who may be familiar with infrastructure, know that infrastructure does not come cheap, of course. We have, whether you're in GCP, AWS, or some other platform, you have disaster recovery, you have means to scale up the product. We need to have low latency. So, all of what they refer to as the LETs of architecture, right? So, we want to be able to have that, and we want to be able to take care of the customer as quick as possible. And I think this will give us a chance to be competitive, right?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have heard it here. We are with Naomi Campbell, the founder of Crewlair. And this is amazing. The vision is there, everything is there. Um, I personally, I guess you could say I'm your biggest fan. Also, uh, disclaimer, co founder. But let's just say this. So to sum it up, the name Crewlair itself, it's crew and lair. If you think of lair, you used to have it kind of people think of it in a negative way, like a place where dangerous animals will gather together. That's a like the dragon's lair, right?
Mm-hmm.
But seems like that's not the case with Crewlair. So just for those who think that it's a negative thing, it's not. It's no longer mythical, hidden, dangerous, or secret. It's a place where viciously talented people connect to build their dreams. So form your crew in this layer, and then Tilda, true
Yes.
layer. Okay. So awesome. That's it. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and I want you to know that we're walking by faith. This is walk by faith because there's no guarantee that for anything, there's no guarantee that someone will wake up tomorrow morning, but yet we do all the things today in hope that we will be up tomorrow. So walking by faith is very important. So just know that this is not a black app. It's built for everyone, right? But for Naomi, her identity matters because she's rewriting who gets to build, who gets sponsored, and who gets seen. It's you should not have to be from a special zip code to make that happen. So here in this podcast, you've heard how she rose from playing in guilds, shooting music videos in Facebook groups, and coding in isolation to launching this platform that is destined to empower a lot of people. So she's asking for this 3 to 5 million capital, guys, and just keep this in mind. This is not something for charity. You are entering the ground floor of something big. This is changing. talk to your kids, talk to people you know, ask them about the trends in social media. People are moving away from more of the I to more of we. Like, and this is where the crew really matters. So,
Yes.
would you say that, Naomi? That
Yes,
sounds
yes.
right.
Shifting social
Okay.
media from me to we.
Okay. So we have faith that all of you that are capable will connect with us. How do they connect, Naomi? Where would you like for them to?
Yes, you can send me an email at naomi@crewlair.com.
Okay, excellent. And do you have also info or just Naomi?
Yes, we also have info@crewlair.com and then also jonathan@crewlair.com.
Okay, perfect. But please reach out to info or Naomi at Crewlair.com and connect with us. Let's make this happen. There's a lot of work that's been done here, and the only thing that's stopping this from becoming another big Facebook or Instagram or whatever big app that is out there that is known is just the funding.
So, before we wrap up this podcast, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on here. And I'm really, really excited about Crewlair, and I really want to make it so that everyone can have a solid support system for life and to build their dreams. And I do want to let you know where you can find my music for everyone who's listening to this who's interested. I got my degree in computer science, and I'm working on this app, but music is my first love, and it's really important to me. It's my passion. So you can find me under Numi. It's spelled Numi, and that's my username for Instagram, YouTube. You can also find me on Spotify, Apple Music, and then you can also find me under Numi Tunes. So that's NUMITUNES. And I've been working on a lot of new tunes, so I can't wait for you guys to hear it. And to those of you who have been listening to my music, showing support and showing love, I just want to say thank you guys so much. And I want to finally close out by saying that Crewlair is a platform that solves a universal problem. So Crewlair can significantly help you, whether you're in music as well, an artist, a creative, an entrepreneur, or even someone who just wants to use it for authentic friendships. So I want you guys to sign up for the waiting list immediately if you haven't and support this. And by joining my app when it's released, you can help us be sustainable and be a part of a movement. So I want you to be empowered, and I want you to know that your action of signing up will help change the future of social media forever. Let's build this platform so you don't have to fight algorithms just to be seen and heard. And you guys can help to build a company that empowers everyone, regardless of your background, institution, ethnicity, or zip code. Know that your core crew of solid supporters will help you be successful in all your endeavors. So I like to always say, don't just be another voice in a friend group. Be a voice that matters in your tight-knit crew. Let's be successful together. So, how can we make this happen? I want you to sign up, tell people about us, give us feedback, and spread the word. And to all investors, be one of the first to help make this platform possible. So, on that note, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and look out for future updates from us.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today you've heard Naomi Campbell talk about her journey from high school days, or from the early days in her childhood, playing with Neopets and Maple Story, to high school and then college, and then on to making music and all these things. But the most important things for this particular podcast is that she's became a computer science graduate and decided to build this app, which is not the traditional steps that most people will follow, taking high risk. And this is a journey of faith, because believing in the unseen, not knowing where you're going to end up, but yet having the conviction that what you're doing is right. And she's definitely been walking by faith. And as her father, I'm very proud to say that I've seen this journey, and I've seen her turn into a seasoned professional over the years. And so It's such a great feeling to see that and to know that she's grown so much. But I too am also walking by faith because I took the time and effort believing that Naomi is on the right track to help her make this possible. So we have a brilliant app. We want you to contact us, contact Naomi. Let's get together, and so you can see this and be one of those that helps to launch this beautiful app that would be basically revolutionary. So this is not charity. If you want to help, that's great, but know that this is investing in something that is going to be big. I've been around with many companies in Silicon Valley, and I've seen a lot of startups come and go. But this is something I believe it's going to go very well. But to make that happen, we need to have the capital. So we want you, if you're listening to this, we want you to be moved. Be moved in your spirit. Be moved in your mind. Understand logically that it's a great investment, and understand that through faith, that it's something that would help many, many, many people. And this is not just a cry for help. We don't need a savior. We need you to buy into the vision and to realize that there's a potential to be an early investor and make something great happen that can help change not just the outlook for many, but change the perception sometimes become reality, like they say, but change the realities for many people and many young women, young men, and in general, just build a very, very nice app that will make money. Many, many features we haven't discussed because those are features of the app that is unique to this app, and we don't want other people to be aware of it until it's released. But if you're one of those investors who are curious about it, and please join us, contact us. And so we're looking to make this happen within the next couple of weeks. We believe that this can happen. So if you're touched or if you're moved, please follow your heart and let your logic also play a part. Use your logic to ask all the hard questions and let your heart guide you, let your spirit guide you to know that you're doing the right thing. So we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much. This has been your host, Jonathan Campbell, and the amazing Naomi Campbell. Thank you.
Thank you.